There was kind of a hush, and Maharishi came in the back with an entourage, and he could have gone to the right or he could have gone to the left. And he came to the left, and he came around, and the back row, 3 people gave him a flower, and then it came to my row, and I gave him a flower. And he looked at me that one moment, and that was it.
This was the most brilliant, most amazing human being I've ever met in my life. This is a person who I really wanted to be my teacher. Nobody else in my life had ever even come up vaguely close to that. So for me, it was quite obvious, quite, perfect. And it wasn't just his intellect, it wasn't just his presence, it was just this kind of joy that emanated from Maharishi that made me happy, and I loved planning with him. I loved creating these different scenarios, and it was just, full of laughter, full of joy.
When he worked for Maharishi, he was always thinking about the whole person. There was the job, and he needed the job to be done right. But he also was thinking about the person's evolution, and that was always primary.
He was so intelligent, and his thinking was so clear, and he was so aware now, in the moment, they always say. That was a profound experience, to see any human being who was so much in the moment. And when I came in the vicinity, I could feel this enormous silence and presence, very profound.
Just watching him in operation, I think the most powerful thing that I learned about Maharishi was how human he was and how wonderful he was human, because he could be really profound. And I have some things that took place that was like, whoa, who is this?
He said he was just an ordinary human being who became enlightened. And, so I'm going to take him at his word, but I think so. But then he was really enlightened. I mean, like, just the amount of power and energy and bliss that he emanated, and just pure energy.
Maharishi's name was Maharishi in the sense that means great seer, and in the Vedic tradition, the seer is somebody who just knows. He didn't learn it from a book or anything. It's the knowledge comes from within and just emerges into his consciousness, and it's the truth.
In terms of when he was communicating, or when he was giving instructions, or when he was directing you, it was a direct line to, you got to talk to nature directly. And being around Maharishi was the best way to have that experience.
Maharishi is nature speaking English. It's all for the benefit of the student and very little for the benefit of Maharishi. He sacrificed 24/7 for 50 years, slept almost not at all. And I understand from people who are close to him that in the last 3 or 4 years of his life, he didn't sleep at all. He would sleep or meditate an hour or 2 a day up until then. And after that, it was all work.
Bevan tells a story where he was in Kashmir in 1969. He was waiting for Maharishi, he was waiting outside. And he said for 1 hour, it was solid laughter, the whole hour. And I thought to myself, if I meet my maker and I'm supposed to say something for my life, it would be that I've made Maharishi laugh. I was always defending the status quo, and Maharishi was quite revolutionary in many ways. And what I did was useful because it made Maharishi go more deeply into the subject. And it brought out more hidden things. And that was very useful. I didn't think so at the time, but I realize now that that was a good thing.
Like Charlie Lutz used to say, it'll be 500 years before the world truly knows who Maharishi is. And I say, from my opinion, Maharishi is the greatest master who ever walked the earth. There could be some as great, but none greater.
He's given us all of the tools, the implements, the knowledge to do what we want to do. But we make the decision of what we want to do. This is a place of knowledge, of integration. People are deifying Maharishi. They're creating absolutes about him. And by doing that, they're taking away the greatest part of him, which was his humanity.
So I think the stories are important, but I also think it's important to emphasize that when he was interviewed, when people asked him, what are you going to leave for the world? He would de-emphasize himself, and he would emphasize the knowledge, how to transcend, how to create world peace, how to solve the health problems of the world. That's what he emphasized for his legacy.